Good evening, Balance Nation. It's Dr. Anthony G. Beck, and I just had to jump on tonight because I had two conversations via Facebook Messenger that, they just tug on the heartstrings a little bit. So here's the gist of it. So I'm going to go into why supplements are making you sick and why they're doing you harm, because the vast majority of people are not making the decisions to take supplements properly for good reason or substantiation. Now, I just want to let you know, it's probably going to poke you right in the chops. A lot of you out there might hurt your feelings a little bit, but hey, listen, this is Dr. AGB, so you know my style. I'm the consummate critique of all kinds of noise and confusion of the info space. So, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, guys, so a couple of things. I want everyone to understand something very crystal clear, okay? I have a reputation of calling BS on a lot of things. That's because the vast majority of things out there is absolute BS, okay? Let me tell you why. The reason is because, and I've said this quite candidly before, that you guys all know that I am a Christian, I'm a capitalist, I'm a constitutionalist, and a contrarian. So that's that. I want you to understand something, and that is all InfoSpace stuff is for one reason really only, and that is to do business. I think I'm the only guy who's got the stuff to tell you that, okay? Doctors' offices, they're there to do business. Attorneys' offices, there to do businesses. Restaurant, there to do business, okay? Everybody is in the business. There's an exchange of goods and services for some type of monetary compensation, okay? And I'm totally okay with that. But what I really want people to understand is it really should come down to integrity and telling the truth, not marketing hooks and shticks and things like that, okay? So let me share a little story with you. So some years ago, and this was back in 2010-ish. So in 2000, fourth quarter, 08, we elected the world's worst president ever. We didn't know that at the time. I lost my practice because my best friend stole it from me. It was a hostile takeover. And my wife of 16 years ran off with another guy. How you like that for transparency and vulnerability? Because I'm candid, okay? So the whole world went upside down for me fourth quarter 08. January 09, I decided to do, and you guys have heard my story before, when you lose everything, no, you don't play country music backwards because you lose your wife, your dog, and your house. If you play it backwards, you get your wife, your dog, and your house back. It's an old joke. You go to Vegas, baby. So that's what I did, is I head out to Vegas. And I just started training more clinicians that I had been doing already for several years. And what I decided to do is, you know what? I just want to see patients virtually, because I was training all kinds of doctors and stuff out in the Nevada area. Some would come over from Arizona and things like that. And I was teaching balanced protocol and the way that I apply integrative and functional medicine in clinical practice. Well, the thing about it is that I couldn't be there all the time. So my colleagues who were training with me, who were still learning how to do clinical workups and cases, would say to me, well, man, I wish you could come out and see them or do it over a webcam. And I said, well, why not do that? So I pioneered telemedicine. So I was one of the first to do it. Starting in January 09, I went a completely virtual practice, not only to patients, but also to training other clinicians. So anyways, the reason I gave you that background story is it's important to understand that I was learning to do business as a physician differently now, okay? And so then I got invited on to various podcasts and things like that, and there's a couple of degrees of separation, and there's people who introduced me to other people. And one of the things that I learned is that there's something called digital marketing, okay? And the thing is really fascinating to me at the time, because I saw all these certain people that already had what they call, and I learned these terms because I'm not a marketer per se, but early penetration into the market, right? So sales funnels. You guys remember when you used to see things on the internet? It used to be this long page. They called it a long form sales letter or sales page, and you just scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll, and then all this stuff, and then they would give you all this hypnotic, word copy, and then talk to you about different things and say, hey, buy this and buy this. And one of the big things out there, you guys have seen all these, is dietary supplements. It's one of the big things out there. Everybody's doing it. And the thing is they're like, well, Beck, we need you to pick a niche. What do you want to do? Do you want to do gut health? Do you want to do, skin, because you do anti-aging and stuff? What do you want? And I'm like, what do you mean? I don't want to do a niche, right? Because you can't just boil everybody down to this one thing and tell everybody that's the problem that they have. But that's what these marketers were approaching to, of course, do marketing for me. One of the great examples of this is Dr. Gundry, right? Guy who was an accomplished physician in cardiology and stuff like that, but wanted to retire. And then what I'm going to do is I need to get out into this marketing space so I don't have to see patients and do rounds and all that kind of stuff of having a practice. So he picked his niche as lectins. Okay, so he's super niched down to the supposed anti-nutrient lectins, and then now every woe in the world is caused by lectins. And so then they do all these different videos and cartoons and stuff and convince everybody your problem is lectins. And if you're eating tomato sauce with the seeds in it that have the lectins in there, then that's the cause of your disease. All right? Then you got people like on the functional medicine side, like Tom O'Brien, who says everything is gluten. Every problem in the world that you have is gluten, right? And then you got the clairvoyance, in the medical medium. Hey, listen, every problem in the world is fixed by celery juice. And everybody's problem is caused by liver and Epstein-Barr virus. Like literally that's what everybody does out there. And I challenge you to remember, this is my personal opinion. I'm a critic. I'm somewhat of a journalist, right? I'm a researcher. And so what I want you to do is check and see that. Anytime you get information on the info space, what I want you to do, and apply this litmus to me too, is look for their niche: gut health, essential oils, collagen, colostrum, turmeric. It's always one thing, CBD, right? It's all these crazy things. And they're supposedly the fix for everything. So you got the people that have the niche, that it's their niche is the solution to everything. And then you've got those people who the problem of everything that you're having is because of this one thing. You got some people say it's oxalates, and then a lot of people say, oh, it's histamine intolerance. And you got people like Josh Axel go, the 5 foods that you got to avoid to do this, and the 7 immune boosting things. And I got an email just yesterday from the other hawker jocker who goes, the 12 things to boost your immune system. Okay, so all these people get a marketing team and they just start cranking out content. You guys ever notice that I don't crank out a ton of content? You don't see blog posts and Instagram posts and all this kind of stuff. And then you got people like Sachin Patel who will bounce around. Oh, it's all mushroom coffee. We got to do that. Oh, no, everything is kombucha. Oh, everything is, plant-based. So, and I'm naming these people by names because I want you to go and see them, okay? Because these are the people people have contacted me through voicemail and through Instagram and through Messenger and said, hey, what do you think about this? And so I'm just sharing stories. I'm going to share 2 of them tonight that literally just happened tonight before I came on here, which is why I actually decided to come on here. So my point is, there's a whole bunch of health and wellness experts out there. Some are physicians, some are not, okay? So I'm not getting into their credentials. I don't give a rat's patootie how many initials you have at the end of the name. People oftentimes ask me, Dr. Beck, well, where's all yours? Because I don't give a dang. My credentials make no difference to me. It's what I'm saying, what I'm doing, my word, my deed, my actions, my message, and then my challenge to you, okay? So going in circles here just a little bit because I'm kind of bringing this around. There are individuals who pick things that they resonate with. They had some type of experience and they go, oh, that worked for me, so that must work for everybody, okay? So then what you do is then they create supplements, like back to Gundry. Like, listen, lectins are bad for everybody, But if you buy my lectin shield, which if you get 3 bottles now, you'll save 30%, you can eat lectins. You don't have to take the seeds out of your tomatoes, okay? Listen, when I make my marinara and I use San Marzano tomatoes, I leave the dang seeds in there, and it's delicious, okay? So you've got the gluten people, you got the oxalate people, you got the phytates people, you got the PUFA people, and PUFAs are bad, and you got some people out there like DHA fixes everything, and then now you got all the other people that's like, oh, you just need, alkaline water, you need this Kagan alkalizing machine, and that's what they all do. Now, what's the difference between all that nonsense and yours truly? Let me show you how terrible of a sales pitch I have. I said, I don't know. We need to know more about your story. We need to do a proper laboratory workup, and we got to fix all the systems in the body because they're all interconnected. And then you have to go after them in a proper order of operations. Okay? So, it's convoluted. It's not quick and easy. It costs money. It's expensive. I'm be telling you. And you have to make adjustments in the 4 factors of balanced protocol: environment, lifestyle, mindset, and nutrition. All of those, okay? You with me on that? So the key here is to understand that most people are dialed into the mechanism that when you have something wrong with you, you go to the doctor. And then you have this preconceived understanding that you're going to get a pill. That's how conventional medicine is. You go, doc, I have fatigue, I have nerve pain, I have insomnia, I've got this itch, I got this rash, okay? And what are you thinking? Well, exactly what they're going to do. They're going to break out the little square, white piece of paper. They're going to write a script on, for some type of drug, some type of something, and then you're going to go down to the pharmacy and you're going to hand them that, and they're going to give you back a bottle. And then now you take that bottle, right? Now, sometimes medications do work empirically for certain things. Okay, I get it. I'm not saying that. I'm not anti-pharmaceuticals at all. They have their place, but they should always be used based upon justification with an entrance strategy and an exit strategy. Okay, you go to a doc and you say, hey, I'm not feeling well, I need to go get some insurance, and they do that blood work like it's all the same, and they go, oh, you have high cholesterol. Your cholesterol is a 222. Literally, I had a friend of mine and one of my colleagues send me one, and his globulin was low and his cholesterol was up. And what do the docs do it? Good doctors, okay? But remember, good is the enemy to great. So you got these good doctors, been in the family for a long time, and they go, you need a statin to treat that one lab because your cholesterol is high and your supposed bad cholesterol, your LDL, is not cholesterol, by the way, it's a lipoprotein. But it's elevated, so we need to treat that with a pharmaceutical. Now, a lot of you guys in here are like, yeah, I don't do that kind of crap. But then what happens is you do the exact same mechanism, but with a different medicine cabinet. You do it with the pills, potions, and powders of dietary supplements. That's what happens. And I bet you the vast majority of people watching this right now have that little cabinet. It's by the refrigerator, generally speaking, and you got all those pills of good intentions, right? Lots of bottles you never even finished off. All kinds of bulletproof brand because Dave Asprey tells you, oh, you just need charcoal. Oh, you need some oxaloacetate. Oh, you need my special MCT. Like I got magical coconuts from Fiji that does it, right? I see it all, okay? Oh, you need some glutathione. Oh, and then there's a whole, there's a big fraud out there, Doris Lull, who says everything is ascorbic acid. Vitamin C fixes everything, right? Then you got everybody says, oh, you need 50,000 IUs of vitamin D. Yeah, that's the fix. Anyways, more on that in a second. So my point is that the mechanism by which the vast majority of people are selecting dietary supplements as a correction tool, supposedly, for their woes, is presupposition and assumptions. You take this for that. So my question to you is, if turmeric is so great, if curcumin fixes everything and it's inflammation, it clears inflammation, okay, then why in the world do you need CBD? Why in the world do you need colloidal silver? Why in the world do you need vitamin C? So I would like to get the vitamin C lady, the vitamin D lady, the make your own silver zapper person, and then I want to get your turmeric person, and then you want to get your your serapeptidase enzyme person, and then all the anti-gluten people, nightshades, lectins, and whatever, and get them all together and say, okay, hey, wouldn't that be a fun debate? My point is this: it's all over the place. What are they missing? They're missing you. That's what they're missing. Little yerba mate, it's delicious tea. So, you guys notice this, in Balanced Nation, you never see me give advice. I teach principles. I teach tactics. I teach strategies. That's the difference. And I always bring it back to you. I'm famous for saying, I coined the phrase, you are a category of one. There's no one else like you. You can complain of fatigue, insomnia, low libido, and allergies, okay? And then you can proceed to go to all the Facebook groups out there, and you have all of them. I'll tell you, you go to Morley Robbins and you go to the magnesium adequacy group, and they're going to tell you, oh, it's magnesium deficiency. All you need to do is just do magnesium. You just need some whole vitamin C and some potassium, some cream of tartar, and some vitamin A, and copper is toxic for everybody, and no one should ever take any copper, and then that's your fix. They call it root cause protocol. Root cause protocol. Everybody gets the same thing. That's what happens. Anybody experienced any of that? Put it in the comments and reactions in there, because if some of this makes sense, I'd like to hear some of you guys say if you've experienced that firsthand. And then I'm going to be at the end of this video, or my little shtick here, I'm going to do some question and answer sessions. So hang in here for doing that, okay? Now, what I'm saying is, if you're going to take dietary supplements, this is coming from a guy who owns a nutraceutical company. And I have since 2005. I formulate and manufacture my own products. I don't private label like Amy Myers does, right? So and I've told you guys this in other videos, right? There's another doctor out there. It's one of the hallmarks is if you know someone that you should question whether they're healthy or not, or should be getting information, is if they feel they need to put their name on a bottle line of supplements that some other manufacturer makes, like Zymogen or Thorne or Metagenics, and a lot of these other companies. You can go and they'll just design your own label, Douglas Labs, and they'll slap whatever you want on there, and you can call it, Velda and Shane's, Bomb-A, supplements. And now and you can buy them, and you can sell them, and you can do your sales funnels and tell everybody whatever your niche is. My point is this: don't make decisions of supplements without clinical data. You have to learn to substantiate what you're taking based upon some type of decision-making matrix that your body can tell you what is off, okay? Let me give you an example, okay? There are people who go, oh, well, everything is the gut. All health and wellness depends upon the gut. And a lot of people pick gut as their niche, okay? You'll see that all the time. And they'll go, oh, you just need some colostrum. Colostrum heals the gut. Well, that's not necessarily so. First of all, bovine cow colostrum comes from cows that have just given birth, and they take that instead of giving it to the calf. Some people have issues with that, I don't. But and supposedly that colostrum, when we as humans consume it, it heals what ails you, okay? Well, guess what? Over a quarter century of clinical practice, I've played with colostrum a ton of times from a variety of different suppliers. And no, it does not heal the gut. No, it does not boost the immune system. No, it does not correct autoimmune diseases. In fact, it's still cow milk derived, and everybody who has created or developed an allergen, a reactivity to cow dairy specifically, can have an immunological upheaval from it and create inflammation. But that's okay, you just need to now take some turmeric or some CBD. That fixes everything. Colostrum is just expensive whey protein, super expensive whey protein as far as I'm concerned. So can you get health benefit from it? Well, I suppose so. There's a lot of nutrition in cow's milk. There sure is. I've raised 3 daughters on cow and goat milk after the year of, my bride not being able to, you only can go so long on your breastfeeding, right? Okay, so the thing is that I'm just using colostrum as an example because, I actually made a comment in Instagram earlier this week about that. The immunological factors that are in colostrum are species specific. You get that? The immunological factors that a mama cow makes is for baby cow, not for grown-up adult human. It does not work like that. Immunological factors are not linear to do in one species as they do in another, okay? It's the same thing like, I'm going to pick another one, like say turmeric. Turmeric is anti-inflammatory. Well, it's very difficult to absorb curcumin or turmeric from your GI tract, which is why we add typically if we do want to get it in, there are clinical times when we do need curcumin. It's got a lot of science behind it. But you have to put in black pepper, okay? Piperum nigra. You got to put in the actual substance that shuts off the protective mechanism in the gut that keeps it from bringing up the curcumin. Okay, so there's all these kind of chemistries that play against each other is my point. So, CBD, it has a very powerful parasympathetic induction, okay? Not sympathetic. If you are already parasympathetically, your nervous system, imbalanced, it's suppressed, and you give CBD for XYZ symptoms, you can make yourself worse. I have seen people absolutely wrecked on CBD. I've seen people absolutely miraculously do better on CBD. Same thing for turmeric, wrecked and amazing. Okay, colostrum, wrecked and amazing, not because of the factors that what people are oftentimes thinking about, because hell, you probably just needed some nutrition. Because whey protein boosts glutathione, by the way. You don't have to take nanotech. That's the new thing. I'm seeing that in the ads. I get targeted all the time on Facebook. Nano glutathione, and you just that's the magic fix for everything because it's the master antioxidant. And then they go off this whole spiel on glutathione. So here's the point. Here's the major aha moment. Ready? The reason why you see some people benefit is because it had application for them. But what you don't hear, most of the stories that I hear clinically of how these same things wrecked that person. So what does it prove? That we have biochemical individuality. That's it. So you cannot live vicariously through another person. You can't go, oh, well, my neighbor took X, Y, or Z when they had fatigue, insomnia, and their hair was falling out, and they had lupus. So I have alkalizing, spondylitis, and so now I'm going to take it for that because it's anti-inflammatory. You see how it works? You got to understand very candidly that you're taking things without proper clinical substantiation of taking it, okay? But then, hey, listen, we don't have time to always go and do that when it comes to taking an aspirin, okay? Or smoking a joint, okay? Or taking a particular food or supplement that's plant-based or whatever. I get it. But here's the thing, though. If you don't get a baseline and you just keep taking it and taking it and taking it, well, like one of these days it's going to kick in, all the while you have to remember that all these substances that supposedly exert a positive effect can potentially exert a negative effect, okay? So if it has the ability to help, it has the ability to harm. There's a lot of things that have the ability to harm that actually have the ability to help. Let's pick one. Bee stings. There are some people that literally they go and they take the bee and boom, and it changes their whole pain in their joints. Now, do they have arthritis because they have a bee sting deficiency? Well, of course not. Just like depression isn't a Prozac deficiency, okay? But you know what? There are some people that get a bee sting and they can die. They have an anaphylactic reaction. We have to pop them with an EpiPen to save their life. So it proves the point that one thing might be medicine for one person, but it might be absolutely poison for another. The question for you is how are you determining which it is for you? Trial and error? You know how reckless and expensive that is? It's a lot. That's why you got that cabinet full of all those bottles of good intentions. Okay? So, the reason why I'm so passionate about this is because I want people to know that I use dietary supplements. I started a company of dietary supplements. I'm not opposed to that. What I'm opposed to is telling people to take something for disease X, Y, or Z. That's the problem, okay? You have to learn that you have to take a supplement to support a system, not treat a symptom. And there's a big difference. But then be careful, because I don't want you to think that I'm saying, oh, take this for gut support. Take this for immune support. It's not what I'm saying. You might think that you have an immune issue or a gut issue, but it's not at all. And here you go taking something for that assumption and not know that it's one of the things that's keeping you mired in the symptoms that you're actually having right now, okay? So what you don't want to do is live vicariously through another person's disease. Number 2, don't take supplements for a disease. You can always tell these health and wellness experts. You can always tell because they call themselves an expert. If ever you hear somebody say, hey, I'm a gut health expert, that means they're full of crap. They just proclaimed that, okay? You ever know? Anyways, don't get me started. My point is this. When you go and you take something for a disease, you're missing the boat. You're not treating the patient, you're treating the disease. And you can tell these health and wellness people and these health coaches and whatever, because they'll have a list on their website of all the diseases that they treat. SIBO, Crohn's, Hashimoto's, Lyme, right? And so if ever you see somebody talking about all the diseases that they treat, I want you to go, well, where do they treat people? They don't. They treat diseases, just like conventional medicine does. They treat the diagnosis. Remember, I've called that the name it, blame it, claim it, tame it game. They want to give it a name. And allopathic medicine, it's some Latin construct. Okay, boom, boom, boom. And then what they do is then they want to blame it on something. And generally they're going to say, well, it's genetics or it runs in the family, which isn't true at all either. And then they're going to get you to claim it. They want you to say, hey, I have Hashimoto's. And then they want to tame it with some type of stuff. Like Isabel Wentz, that's her niche, is thyroid health. Everything is their thyroid. Okay? If you got fatigue, it's thyroid. If you have dry skin, it's thyroid. You got bowel issues, it's thyroid. You got headaches, it's thyroid, right? It's what, go look. Go look for yourself. Buy their books. Spend the money. That's what you got to do. I am advocating that you go and buy all these people's books. If you dig deeper, what you'll do is you'll find out that all these people, most of them, have the same publisher and use the same ghostwriters, just so you know. Go look that up too. So my point is this. It's about marketing. It's about niche picking. It's about talking about diseases that have nothing to do with you and getting you to make you to think that it sounds like what you have, right? And then you got all the blogs that talk about all kinds of things like, oh, all the benefits of green tea and all the benefits of alkalized water and all the benefits of sun. I love the sun too. I live in Florida, but I don't have liver spots. I don't have any makeup on for this show, okay? Sometimes when I do my videos and stuff, I do. But this is Dr. Beck's skin, okay? Not absolutely perfect, okay? But I don't have any liver spots. This is from shaving this morning, okay? But you see what I'm saying? I'm in the sun all the time, but not too much. I'm not turning into that, leather-looking lady from Something About Mary, okay? Sunshine, okay? This is for you, Shane. I know you're in here. Is wonderful. Light is wonderful. But everybody's like, oh, blue light's bad. Blue light's bad. No, it's not. I use blue light all the time therapeutically. It's a wonderful spectrum that we have of all the different colors. But right now, everybody's all about the red light. They don't talk to you about tangerine. They don't talk to you about turquoise. They don't talk to you about lemon. You know all those have therapeutic benefit too? Of course you don't, because somebody hasn't picked that niche yet. All right. So here's what I wanted to do, okay? I want to kind of tell you a couple of stories. I wrote these down. So hopefully you guys that these stories are about are in here because I invited you to come listen. So someone reached out to me. They'll become nameless, okay? And they said, I'm having chest pressure, fatigue, and neurological symptoms. And I'm just paraphrasing here, okay? Previous question was, might be COVID. Bless their heart. I can't tell you guys, and I love you to death, and if I'm picking a little bit, it's because I'm picking on you a little bit. It's okay. You can pick on me too. What I'm saying is everybody thinks everything is COVID now, even people who should know better. Everybody's calling everything COVID. It's silly. COVID's a hoax, guys. I've given it hours and hours and hours of coverage, and I've shown you the history, the data, the precedent. It is BS, okay? Coronaviruses are weak, pathetic exosomes. Oh gosh, and we've all been exposed to them so much, it's unbelievable. Don't get me started. So, of course, one of the things that this lovely lady, she's an absolute sweetheart, absolutely beautiful, said that mercury was the issue. She thought she had mercury poisoning. Why? Because when you start thinking neurological symptoms and fatigue and whatever, you go, oh, heavy metals. And of course, everybody out there's a whole company called Quicksilver. This guy who literally looks like a piece of sausage sells these to doctors and tells everybody you need to take all these things, right? And then in the autism world, it's TRS, right? And it's the zeolites, and that's why my God. My point is, yes, mercury is a real problem. It is. It's in all kinds of things, right? One thing she mentioned is she didn't know that there is sometimes mercury in contact solution. There are in some brands. A lot of brands don't. But listen, mercury is used as a stabilizer and an antimicrobial in all kinds of things, like vaccines, right? So not only do they inject it into people, but they also put it in all kinds of products and makeups and all kinds of things. But the point was, so she was like, well, it's mercury. It may not be mercury. Just because mercury sounds like it. Now, my question oftentimes is, by what method specifically was mercury determined? And most people are going to go, it sounded like mine, and I know I have a bunch of mercury in my mouth, therefore it must be it. Wouldn't it be that nice if that's what it was? Then I would really be a worthless person to even see or to talk with. It'd be that simple. It's not. Okay? Now, am I an advocate of mercury in the mouth? No. No metal in the mouth in any way, shape, or form. I don't even care if it's titanium. Okay? But that's a whole nother piece of content, right? So my point is this. Mercury is difficult. Okay? And you don't go after it. What they'll do is they'll say, well, I did, Beck. I did a hair test and the mercury was high. I did a urine test and the mercury was high. So then what you'll have is then you'll have this person who does that to every patient that they do and always wants to call it mercury because that's their niche. And you can tell if it's their niche because that's all they talk about it a whole lot, that one subject, a whole bunch. You can see how much I've been all over the place in this video. That's why I can't write blogs. My brain just goes too crazy. My point is this. Mercury is real, but if someone tells you that you actually have mercury poisoning and they haven't done any test at all, then they're full of crap. They're just guessing. You can be right 50% of the time, okay? So if you work with 100 different people as a health coach or health and wellness, whatever, and you get, 100 of them, well, 50 of them will have some benefit. Great. Well, great. What about the other 50? No benefit, or did they get wrecked? Why? Because people think you now need to go and do chelation, right? And they start popping all these different protocols. Another one out there for that is you got the detox doc, and you got Pampa, who's now offering a certification in detox therapist, by the way. So in other words, literally, hey, if you guys want to go and fool all your friends and sell a bunch of supplements, just go and get certified at Dr. Pampa stuff as a detox specialist and just start selling yourself as that niche. I hear it's pretty lucrative these days. I mean, who's certifying the certified? Here's my point. So then this person was like, okay, well, I'm going to take some vitamin D, some vitamin C, drink lots of alkaline water, and iodine. Okay, first of all, iodine is the heaviest of heaviest metals, okay? Look at the periodic table of elements. Go look. Do this little, because don't believe me. But it's a liquid, okay? Iodine's everything. We need it for this, that, and the other, okay? Iodine is way past mercury and cadmium and all those other guys, okay? So, the point is this. It has a very bad potential downside. Your body has to be in a very specific biochemistry to even remotely take up iodine and for it to do what it needs to do. And that's more than later. We measure and look at that via urine pH, by the way, okay? That's why, like, when we do iodine, we take it and we do a urine collection as a test to see how much you take in. We give you a loaded dose of 50 milligrams of Lugol's or different ones, or iodoral, and then we do a 24-hour catch and we see how much you pee out. Anyways, so there's tests for every element out there, okay? So before you take iodine, you should test how you deal with iodine. There's also a skin patch test. We could do that as well. When it comes to zinc, when it comes to copper, when it comes to vitamin D, guess what? There are laboratory assessments for every single one. You have to assess where you're at before you go and take them. For example, vitamin D has a very powerful potential, oral vitamin D, depending upon the dose, right? Depends upon the source, the form, the dose, the frequency, and the duration. Source, form, dose, frequency, and duration. That determines if it's therapeutic or detrimental. Here's my point. I can't teach you everything in one video, but I want you to know there's more context than you understand. Vitamin D is not benign, okay? It is not. You can make it if you get in the sunshine. It's rare that people are not able to get it. And if you can't get it from sunshine, you can get it from a therapeutic light. Anybody who has my light set up, I teach you how to do it. It's all over the internet. There's a lot of people doing it. You can learn how to do your own, okay? Or you can buy a Spurdy or an expensive one. All right, but my point is this. Sometimes we use oral vitamin D, yes. But don't take it as a presupposition because you have no idea what it's going to do inside of your body potentially. Same thing when it comes to vitamin C. Vitamin C is what? L-ascorbate, sodium ascorbate, zinc ascorbate. There's all different kinds. So when you tell somebody, go take vitamin C, and then what do you guys do? Come on, you could tell me if you've done this. You can raise your hand out in the comments, right? You go and you start looking for it down the aisle, you know, in Whole Foods or your vitamin shop or your grocery store, and you start shopping based upon what? Just like you do for wine. Who's got a cool label and what's the price? You make a decision on products based upon price and labels. So anyways, vitamin C can harm you. Yes, it can. Okay, have I used it for decades on countless thousands of patients? I sure have. Based upon absolutely substantiating objective data. Yes, I've done it IV. Yes, it has a miraculous potential on certain cases. Okay? So, my point is, when you go after taking stuff to treat symptoms, you're gonna get lost, I promise you. Then the question was, what's wrong with alkaline water? Okay, my question to you is, what's right with alkaline water? Okay? What people are mostly talking about when it comes to alkaline water is water that's been electrocuted. They run a stream of water that has all kinds of elements in it between these two plates, and it spits out an alkaline stream and an acid stream due to electrochemistry. So then you supposedly drink this alkaline water. So you got all these other kind of frauds like David Avocado Wolf, and he back in the day it was alkaline water. It's great for everybody. And grounding pads, and he sold those too. Now he's moved on to carbon 60, C60. Right? That's his new thing. Looks like the Epcot Dome. Well, guess what? Have any of you guys gone to the NIH and taken a look at PubMed and taken a look at the detrimental things that can happen from taking C60? Well, I've seen it clinically wreck a ton of people because they jumped on the bandwagon. But anyway, so my point is, you go down one rabbit hole of alkaline water, you'll go to a place, and this health person will also tell you, oh, and by the way, you need to take this C60 and olive oil. So when you start putting alkaline water into your stomach, you're asking to absolutely induce a pH that's altering to what it's supposed to be doing because you're divinely created. You go and drinking water that's 8, 9, 10 alkaline pH into a stomach that's supposed to be 2. Well, that's one of our primary ways to prevent exosomes, bacteria, fungus from affecting the GI. Okay, it's very disruptive, okay? And guess what? Yes, it can move your pH, but it's fleeting. And what they don't tell you is the downside of that. Now, are there a bunch of people out there that will say, hey, listen, I feel better drinking? Of course, you're probably overly acidic, but you know what? There's a ton of people who are overly alkaline. Tons. So this is why those people go, oh, I started taking apple cider vinegar and I felt so much better. Why? Because you're overly alkaline, and ACV will make you more acidic. People say, well, I started taking lemon water, and that made me feel better. Well, guess what? Lemon water will make you more alkaline, so if you're over acidic, that's it. But guess what? For every person who says lemon was great for me, I'll have another one that said, hey, it killed me. That's what it is, okay? So, what happens is along with this story, is the decision-making matrix of this particular person said that they are exposed to a diverse group of alternative health and wellness people. Correct. So here's what I want you to do. Go look at that person, see if they treat diseases, they will, see what their niche is, and see if they sell the fix to that one thing. That's what you want to do, okay? Because you can't, and this was it, basing decisions on how you come to know those people. Listen, you can look at me, you can look at my family. I've got patients in here, right? I've got some, the thing is, but I don't go and constantly try to have people live vicariously through their lives. You can say, yeah, Dr. Beck, he helped me tremendously, and I'm living life in balance, and I'm learning balanced protocol. Okay, great. But here's the thing, that person's journey is not going to be the same as yours. You can't do the same thing even if your clinical complaints are the same, okay? So you can't you can't take that approach. If there's one thing I want everybody to understand is that that's why I say you are a category of one. You got to look at the context. You have to qualify, quantify, measure, and monitor if you want to know what you're doing. That's really what this boils down to be. So then I had another person reach out to me tonight and said, hey, listen, I'm a friend of a friend. She has a friend, thinks they have COVID. See, everybody's going to that. She's a yoga teacher, massage therapist, great shape all her life. And of course, he was shocked to hear her say that, hey, she's been sick for a month now, okay? So then you reach out, because like people refer people to me to help, okay? But I'm not going to tell you what to do in the absence of a proper workup and knowing your complete case. But here's the deal. Silver, beta-glucan to boost white blood cells. If somebody tells you to take beta-glucan to boost white blood cells, it doesn't really do that, by the way. That's not how it works. It can, but that's really not right. And they haven't even tested your white blood cells yet? That is malpractice. That is terrible. Because I'm telling you, there's a lot of cases when you actually already have a lot of something and you go inducing more of it just based upon assumption. So don't go trying to boost white blood cells with something unless you know what your current level of white blood cells are. It's cheap. It costs you $14 to test it. Anyways. But then it's like, okay, and then take red marine algae for lingering virus. I bet you this person doesn't even know that viruses are exosomes. Lingering viruses. We have thousands of viruses in us. You have the microbiome for bacteria, you have the mycobiome for fungus, and you have the virome for virus. There's lots of them in us. So then it was like, then the statement was, it may cause you to lose your hair, but treating this, it'll get over faster. I couldn't believe that. Listen, if you have an adverse reaction to something, here's what you do. Ready? It's earth-shattering. Stop. You stop it. Don't pull a Dr. Pomp and say, push through the pain. No. Don't go, oh, you're just detoxing. You're having a Herxheimer reaction. You're just having a proving. Keep going. No. Where else does that work in reality? Try that with your kids. Let them keep doing something when you say stop, stop, stop. Somebody's getting ready to get lit up. Try that with your spouse. Honey, I don't like that. Ow. And you keep doing it. See how that works out for you. See if you keep breaking the law and see how that's going to work out for you when it comes to cops and judges. You see what I'm saying? No. When your body says no, it's no. Don't do it. This is why balanced protocols, 2, 3, 5, 8, the 3 stands for the 3 phases. Nourish, balance, purify. You have to do the right thing in the right order and take time to nourish and build up the body. Don't push it into detoxes. Don't go after blowing up microbes. Okay? So, and listen, I also, one of my medical degrees is in, of course, Oriental medicine. I also have a doctorate in Oriental medicine, right? So believe me, I know Oriental medicine, and I know all the herbs and the channels and everything like that. So then, of course, this person was referred to as somebody who does that TCM tradition and says that you have lung heat, right? So you need an herb for that. And if there's phlegm, you got to add another herb for that, right? And so then we're going to add on some more buffered vitamin C, some vitamin D, and some zinc. Okay. Which brings me to another example. It makes the point that I said earlier on in this video that you can't give things for things, okay? Zinc is a lovely mineral, okay? But it can also be toxic. I literally had one of my new preceptees, a gentleman who's training with me who doesn't have a particular clinical background, made this mistake. And if he sees this video and he wants to come, because I know he's in Balance Nation, if you want to reveal yourself and tell your story, that'd be great. So he goes, well, I was feeling this way, so I took, a teaspoon of zinc. Well, zinc what is the first? In other words, he texted me, oh my God, I feel like hell, like I'm gonna lose my stuff. Do I need to go to the hospital? Because he took zinc. Well, it was zinc citrate, okay? Minerals have last names. So in this world of COVID, and we're talking about treating that with hydroxychloroquine, zinc sulfate, okay, and a Z-Pak, an antibiotic. Yes, it works, okay? Not for COVID, okay, because I don't believe in that. But what's happening when it comes to the lungs from that immunological reaction? It's been around for a long time, and you can use it in all kinds of things. But here's the deal. Zinc sulfate is not the same thing as zinc citrate. It's not the same thing as zinc orotate, not the same thing as zinc malate, not the same thing as zinc monomethionine. They all have different effects. Good luck trying to find monomethionine zinc now anywhere, okay? Because everybody went and bought it all up, okay? Zinc picolinate's out there, but that's not very therapeutic on certain areas. So my point is this. Zinc can be very toxic. So don't take zinc or tell somebody to take zinc when you're not specifically telling them the last name of the zinc, how much to take, and when to stop taking it. And you can't do that if you haven't done a plasma zinc test. You can't. That's how it works, okay? So let me sum this up here. My heart breaks for people who have clinical complaints. I get it, okay? It's because you haven't learned how to live life in balance yet. Live Balance Protocol. You can go and learn about Balance Protocol in my free course, Balance Protocol Prime, okay? You can go to balanceprotocolprime.com soon. I'm revamping the website because remember, I'm not a marketing person, but programs.balanceprotocol.com has access to it. So anyways, the point is this. Prime is the basic understanding of Balance Protocol, my tenets, my principles, and what my shtick is. I do not have a niche, okay? All health and wellness does not begin and end in the gut. It does not, okay? Some people, it's EMF. You can have hair loss, fatigue, neurological symptoms, and all the same things that we were talking about in here because your bed is by excess of body voltage. It could be due to circadian rhythm and toxic light. It could be due to vibrations and infrasound from fans over your bed while you're trying to sleep. It could be nutritional deficiencies. It could be microbes. It could be some of all of those. That's the point. There are no niches that have any integrity. They're all lying to you. Now, do I think they're doing it out of malice? I don't know. I can't speak to that or their character, except for Josh Axe. So I was actually at a conference one time, and he was on stage, and he told everybody, hey, listen, I didn't know what I was doing. What I did was I had my producers take the calls, and I Googled it real quick, and I answered the answers on these calls, and I learned that way. Swear to God, I have the video. My point is this. People that you might think know what they're talking about don't know what they're talking about, and you shouldn't be getting health advice from unqualified individuals, okay? And it doesn't change the fact that no matter what, the number one litmus test is, did they quantify and qualify, measure, and monitor you? Did they substantiate why you need to take what you need to take? And the vast majority will say, no, they didn't. Why? Because you go into your problems with a budget, and I get that. Not everybody is ultra wealthy, okay? But you're your most valuable asset, okay? Invest in you. Instead of buying, red lights, get into some labs and get those properly evaluated and make decisions based upon something that you can track and quantify. All these biohackers out there, they're liars. They're just selling you stuff like Anthony DiClemente and all these other guys. They just put out stuff. They proclaim themselves these things, and they never specifically tell you how to inclusionary criteria you and exclusionary criteria you. There are some people that have no business taking CBD. You shouldn't. It's not God's medicine in this earth. Same thing when it comes to mushrooms. Everybody in the medical mushrooms thing, right? Or the reishi and cordyceps and mushroom coffee and how wonderful it is to boost the immune system. Who says your immune system isn't fine now and you need to now put it at a level that's now overly responsive? You see where I'm getting at with that? All right, so that's how supplements can harm you. Without the context of you, without you trying to live vicariously through other people, getting your information from Facebook groups that don't know about you and they're just talking about the disease, and you living vicariously through other people. That's really what it is. Okay, so we're going to move on here the last few minutes of this thing with some question and answers. So let's go through these. So Shane, I appreciate you, brother. So he says that soaking his crystals in celery juice get good results. He's kidding. Cameron says, and producer, if you can just double click on their picture, click, pop that up on there. Get that on the screen where everybody can see it. So Cameron says, how can we learn how to correctly and safely, if they need, and how to implement supplements at an individualized level? That is the question. Okay, now, how can you learn? Okay, well, of course I'm going to sell you the fix. Okay, I'm presenting the problems in this video, and I'm having some technical difficulties back there. So that's what happens. I have a lovely producer. But anyways, so the thing is this. How can you learn? Ask questions. Now, if you really want to get it individualized, you have to work with a balanced protocol practitioner. I'm telling you, that's what it is. Okay? But even then, here's what I always tell everybody. What you can do is reach out to me. You can go to dranthonygbeck.com, okay? And what I do is I open up my schedule for what are called discovery calls. These you have to submit a consultation application, tell me what it is that you want to know, and I will block out a little schedule for you to talk to me. No cost or obligation, right? There's no gotchas, there's no strings attached, okay? That way I can better triage you, okay? But here's the deal though. It's not just to kibitz and to get my thing, get my opinion on stuff and for us to become friends and all that kind of stuff. We can do that in Balance Nation. If you want it about you and it's specifically and you know that you're looking to have some help and want some direction, that's the people that I want to talk to, okay? I wish there was an answer, Cameron, where I can just say, hey, here's my course on that. It's not. Remember I told you, it's convoluted, it's complicated, it's got a lot more to it. Shane says John Mitchell has worked professionally with Beck and talks about it a bit on his page regarding testing and supplements. Here's his business page. Yep. John Mitchell's one of my proteges, very smart individual, physician assistant and PA. And, the cool thing is, he was in that environment, when it comes to the pill for every ill, worked in a functional medicine clinic, and they weren't getting anybody well and using all these things that I talked about. And he said, screw that, I got to come learn to train with Beck. And he's currently in training with me, so it's really good. Okay? Velda says, generally speaking, what about supplements like vitamin C for just general immune system support? Absolutely not. It doesn't work like that. Okay? You can't just go and take vitamin C supplements for general immune support. And here's the thing. What do you mean by immune? What immune system are you referring to specifically is what I would normally say. Are we talking about Th1, Th2, Th17? Are we talking about, the cytokines or interleukins? Or are we talking about prostaglandins and cyclooxygenases? What are we talking about? They're all different systems, okay? So it's like saying, okay, what automobile do you recommend that people drive for comfort? What, do you have snow? Are you in the mountains, right? Are you in the desert? It just depends. How many people do you need there? You see what I mean? There's all kinds of context. So there is not a single supplement that you can take for generalized support. You can't. It doesn't work like that, okay? There are certain foods that I like to incorporate for people. I like things like spirulina and chlorella and, purple dulse and algae and wheatgrass, barley grass, alfalfa grass, stuff like that, okay? I really enjoy working those things as food into it. If you want vitamin C, eat it from food. But people are like, no, but what about all the fructose? Fructose is bad. Fruit is bad. That's not true at all. I eat 1 to 2 pieces of fruit every day. Not all year round, but the thing is that's how it rolls, okay? So you can't take supplements to support systems without context. That's the point. Okay, let's see here. All right, so any other questions? Man, we didn't have, I know I came on here late last night. Those of you who know the story I was talking about, I hope that makes sense to you. What all I can do is listen. If you guys want to get clear on these things, you got to have somebody who's got the clinical insight to be able to have the guts to tell you we need to make it about you. And the fix is never going to be just a supplement. It's not. It never is. You have to make environmental changes to your air, water, light, sound, and EMF. You have to make lifestyle changes. You have to make mindset changes as well as nutrient changes. This is why every single person out there, I understand that's their passion, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions, okay? And there's a lot of people who absolutely know that they're lying to you. There's a lot of people who don't know that they're lying to you, and they're just regurgitating what they were told. And literally, just about every single adage that you've heard is bogus. And here's the reason why it's BS and bogus. Because you don't have the context of view, whether it applies or it doesn't apply, okay? Velda, same thing. Probiotics, prebiotics. People don't know that you can have a probiotic dysbiosis. You have these gut problems and you start taking prebiotics and probiotics because you listen to some person who sold them, okay? That's their niche, gut health. Same thing when I call the KKK, right? Kombucha, kraut, and kimchi. Those aren't good for everybody. They are not good for digestive health or, gut support. No, they can absolutely wreck a lot of people. It depends upon the status of other things. How you manufacture energy from carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, and if we're byproducts of anaerobic or aerobic metabolism, it's fermentation or not. There's a lot of context that needs to happen. Now, can you eat those things a little bit as a little accoutrement? Sure. But if you're pounding the kimchi, the kraut, and the kombucha because it's supposedly good for health, whatever, you're lying to yourself. You ask yourself, how did you come to that understanding and proof specifically? And if it came by reading some blog, watching some random guy like me on some video tell you that it was good for you, or because your relative or friend or work colleague did it and got some result, well, then you're using a broken method. It sure as heck isn't the scientific method, okay? So, anyways, you guys, a couple of different things. Let's see, with last minute questions, Mike says, are there any brands of Corelle and Spirulina that you like? Okay, mine, which is out of stock, I'm a capitalist, no, I'm not going to say. My thing is this. When it comes to those, because you got to get into Corella, and is it Crackwall, and Spirulina, and did it come from Calmuth Lake, and there's all these things. The upshot is I would rather not answer that question. I don't have any to sell you now either. So just to be perfectly clear. Typically, oh man, dang it, Mike, you're getting me. All right, so I want to answer, but at the same time, what I don't want to do is misdirect you, okay? So my thing is this. It's a crapshoot, but their color, their taste, their vibrancy, and trusted source. How long has that source been in business for a bit? Those are the kind of litmuses that I would take a look at. There's various sources of them. You got to ask the question from the sources, where did it come from? Don't get any from Asia. Don't do it. And that's the one thing, guys, in the supplements that I use, mine are a premium type dietary supplement because it's not just testing it, okay? Because there's a lot of crap. Hell, you can go to Alibaba.com and buy all kinds of stuff by the kilos and the truckloads, okay? And a lot of these people will do that. These private label companies, that's what they do. They grow it in China and Malaysia and different places that don't have the type of protections or quality stuff. And you can test it, and they'll go, hey, it's this much is in there, but then also testing for all the other things that are supposed to be in there. And then how old is it, right? And where's it been sitting around, and what are the conditions of it? It's just it's a challenging. Guys, listen, this is why I don't have a sales pitch. The reason why I can't is because I'm telling you everything is a pain in the A, and it's tough. There's no simple answers most of the time. There's not. Okay, Yard Brings Light says, ozone therapy, I was hearing about it today, and also hydrogen. Exactly. See, those are the things that people do. So let me put it this way. Ozone therapy has its place. Hydrogen inhalation has its place. But you can't go take ozone therapy and inhale hydrogen based upon having mental fog and fatigue and muscle weakness and poor recovery, and you want to do it as an antioxidant, and you want to improve your redox potential and all that crap. They don't know your redox potential. They haven't done any cognitive testing on you. I can do it through just tapping on cortical metrics. I can do it for all kinds of. So my point is this. Yes, those are great, but you know what? I can't tell you how many people I've had ozone therapy absolutely wreck and paralyzed. And I've had one in North Carolina out on the Outer Banks. It completely wrecked them because they also did it at the same time as they started doing chelation. And his own semen, we're all adults here, his own semen, when it touches his skin, he has an allergic reaction to it after doing ozone and that kind of fun stuff. How you like that? Okay? So, has his place, but it has to go through the context of the unique individual. That's my point. Okay? Hydrogen inhalation and hydrogen water is not for everybody. What if you have excess of hydrogen already in your tissues? More's better? That's the American way. Hey, listen, cheese, you need more cheese. You got some alcohol in that? Whiskey, you need more whiskey. Oh, you already got hydrogen, you need more hydrogen. No, it doesn't work like that. All right. All right, anything else? Anybody going? Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up, guys. I'll try to keep them at an hour. I do this because it's my passion. I wish I could just give the answers. I tell people the bottom line is don't believe me. Do your research, ask better questions, but never forget the litmus that you are a category of one. It's all about your unique story, your biochemical individuality, and you have to qualify, quantify, measure, and monitor what you're doing, okay? Most of the time, more times than not, you're going to need the assistance of a competent practitioner. The litmus for the practitioner is someone who says, I'm not going to give you any recommendations in the absence of data. That's the first one. Number two, they don't tell you that you have something. Number three, they don't go to get you to start thinking we're going to treat it. Okay? That's why I see that in Lyme specialists all the time. Everything is Lyme. There's a joke with all my practitioners that train with me is we call everything Lyme. Oh, it's Lyme. Doesn't matter what the tests say. Doesn't matter how many bands are positive. Doesn't matter if you have a current infection. It's that. And then, of course, what's another one these days? You got, it's mold. Everything's mold. Oh, it's Lyme and co-infections. Gosh, I make fun of it because it's just exhausting. It's the bane of my existence. And it breaks my heart to see so many people spinning their wheels and getting nowhere. Okay? Now, the great news is this. Spoiler alert, and I wasn't going to talk about this, but I'll go ahead and do it. I'm rolling out a program that is specifically designed to help people in this particular case in a very effective and affordable way, okay? That's coming soon, so I'll tell you guys more about that later, okay? It's not the end-all to begin-all because but for those of you who want some quantification to get an assessment, at least a starting point, I wanted to make something available to you guys to do it. I haven't ever done this like this in going on 27 years of clinical practice, all right? So it is a segment of Balanced Protocol that will do that. Now, I have other educational series. Balanced Protocol Enviro 2.0 is a phenomenal 40-hour plus how-to. It is worth every bit of it because, of course, what I sell, what I offer is education, okay? Now, I teach you mechanisms, strategies, and standards. That's what my approach is, okay? I'm not going to say, hey, listen, if you're having gut problems, take probiotics, take, colostrum, take some bitters, and take some enzymes, and then take some, betaine, and this, and this, and that, and there's some L-glutamine, and some CBD, and some turmeric for inflammation, and eat a plant-based diet. All right, enough. I think I've made my point. Love you, Balance Nation. So, at the end of the day, like I said, if you want some help, reach out to me at dranthonygbeck.com. Take me up on a discovery call. I have slots available there, but when my schedule is busy, you won't see it available. So if you see it there, take advantage of that, no cost or obligation, and we'll talk. Other than that, you guys keep posting your questions here in Balance Nation. I'll do my best to try to serve you as a contrarian. And I'm always going to keep it candid. I'm going to name names. I'm going to say what I think. It's always my opinion. That's why after this video, you're going to see a big, long disclosure, okay? The bottom line is I want you to do your own research. Don't believe me or take my word for it, but never forget that you are central to the entire narrative. All right, guys, until next time, live life in balance. I'll see you soon.